My Tech and every conversation explores the art of thinking beyond the obvious. And today I have my special guest, one of her advocacy mentoring women to step into their CEO era while creating the first class freedom. No other than Miss Sasha Eburne. Welcome, Miss Sasha, on Object Essay. And can you please introduce some more about yourself that I miss?
Yes, thank you so much for having me. It's such an honor to be here talking to your audience. So, as you mentioned, I am a business mentor. I predominantly work with women, some men, and I work with those globally to support them to step into that CEO era. And that really helps them to actually create a freedom led business. So, they're creating the structure and the business surrounding how they actually want to live their life.
And thank you so much for sharing your knowledge and wisdom to the world, Miss Sasha. Thank you. And today, let's empower women all over the world, mentoring women to step into their CEO position. So tell us, when you begin mentoring a woman for a CEO role, what does the process of building a CEO identity look like? How do you help them overcome the internal narrative that they are not imposter and step into their belief that they are the decision maker?
Yeah, great question. So it's really about tapping into what are their dreams, wants, and desires for their life, rather than the opposite of that is in the 9 to 5, where you're potentially just kind of following suit, doing what you're being
Hmm.
told. Whereas when you run your own business, it's really down to you, and you get to create the structure and the workplace and the culture that you desire. So if you desire time freedom, if you desire location freedom, we get to craft offers, we get to craft the culture, we get to craft the business and the structures to support that. So really allowing them the space and the permission slip, I guess you'd say, to really tap into themselves and what is important for them. If they have a family, then it's really about time freedom so that they can make time for them. If it's the fact that they want to be able to travel the world and have that location freedom, how do we craft that business and how do we craft those high end offers to support them to do that? So it's really about reverse engineering the structure and the culture of their business, rather than creating a business that you just feel like you're working on that hamster wheel of life like we were in the 9 to 5. So it really just creates that space into what they choose so that they can create their dream life.
Create that space. Well, I like that. Miss Sasha. A common theme for women leaders is seeking permission rather than claiming power. What specific strategy do you use to help women shift from waiting for a seat at the table to building her own table?
Yeah, definitely. So giving them the confidence, and I guess the not the confidence as much, but more that they don't need permission. That we only have one life. No one's coming to save you or to give you it on a silver platter, that you need to go and create it. So what you mentioned is actually creating the table to sit at, rather than, going and sitting at somebody else's table. So realizing that they can create whatever they want to create, and it's all a choice. So they get to create the choice and they get to create this business so that they're not waiting for permission. So we do create a really heart-led, warm space that they feel like that they can just be themselves and actually step into a better version of themselves, which then allows them to be better business owners as well.
Miss Sasha, how do you counsel women to embrace the articulate their ambition unapologetically, especially in environments that might still perceive ambitious women as aggressive or too pushy?
Yeah, so it's about rewriting the narrative. So, a lot of what you mentioned, the pushy, the all of that kind of is stemmed from, a years long generation of kind of, that women never used to have jobs. So, a lot of that has come over time. And it's really kind of rewriting that narrative that we're not living in that sort of society anymore, and they can actually do and create whatever they want to create. So, the work that we do is very much done on the inside, as well as the strategy of the business, so that they can play in a market, especially in business. Depending upon which country you're in, some countries they are male dominated businesses. In Australia, we're a little bit more equalized, but it really just kind of gives them the confidence by giving them the structure and the strategy. Because a lot of us, we've never worked in businesses before, so we give them a lot of strategy to then give them the confidence to be able to play in that market as well. Because if we don't know how to run a business, then we can't expect to run a business successfully. So a lot of us step into this space knowing how to do the work and knowing how to serve the clients, but then we match it with all the strategies of running a successful business. And then that's where the confidence comes from, matching their skill set with the business skill set. So we match those two together so they can create a cohesive, thriving business.
We know women often feel they need to be 1% or 100% qualified before applying for a role, while men may apply at 60%. How do you break this cycle and help them act on competence, even the confidence lacked?
Yeah, so I find that the problem that we generally have in the online space is not a male female dynamic. It's more of a competition with offshore markets, and offshore markets sort of charging anywhere from $5 to $10, whereas us as executives, and we've had long 9 to 5 careers where we've got university degrees and things like that, we're kind of charging premium rates. So that's really the big battle that we kind of go up against in terms of that. But it's again changing our mindset in terms of there are clients, and in Australia alone there's 2.6 million businesses, and to acknowledge that every business owner wants to work with specialists and businesses at different level. They might only be able to afford to go offshore. And then it's about acknowledging that they're not our clients. Whereas if the business owner wants to move really fast, wants to get it done, they're in the position to actually pay for that expertise. So it's more of a level of rate and where they want to sit in the market compared to a male or female. Predominantly in the online space, if we're working with coaches and virtual assistants and freelancers, in Australia specifically, it is a very female dominated industry.
Miss Sasha, beyond the operational, many talented women rise to senior roles by being exceptional operational leaders. What are the key mental shift or new skills required to move from managing a business to leading the vision of the business?
Yeah, I would say that the key is really creating that culture within the business and creating the flexibility, as well as getting to know who you're working with and getting to know people on a deeper level. And the way that we manage and the way that we lead team is going to be different for each person. So you can't manage a team member the same as you're going to manage the next team member, because we're all human. We're all wired very differently. So it's about tailoring your structure and tailoring the way that you manage and the way that you lead, depending upon who you are leading and who you're managing. And it's really important to get a deep understanding of their wants and desires in working for you as well, so that you can really pinpoint what is their level of expertise, so that they're in a thriving environment. If you have a team member and you're giving them tasks that they hate to do, then it's going to be toxic for the entire culture within the business. So really kind of tapping into relationships and skill set to ensure that you have a cohesive environment with everybody.
Cohesive. I like that. Miss Sasha. Let's look at the boredom playbook. The relationship with a board of director is unique. What are the non-negotiable skills you mentor women on when it comes to managing a board, setting agendas, and navigating those complex power dynamics?
Yeah, I think it's the first key would be to actually remove the power dynamics. Is just see everybody as human. We're all in the board meeting to play a role and to deliver information and to come to a conclusion on a lot of the pressing topics. So really remove the power dynamics, especially if it is male dominated, and really treat it as just a business discussion. just a business discussion and building relationships. And like I said before, is really understanding each person and what drives them and what not, so that you can actually be unique in your approach to each person, but really just removing that power, because you're all going to be sitting at that table at the same level. So just treat it as a really constructive business conversation.
Strategic networking. How do you guide women to transform their networking from a transactional activity to building a powerful board of advocates who will champion their candidacy for top job?
Yeah, great question. So my rule is, when you go into network, is actually
Yes.
don't go into sell. The goal is not to sell. The goal is to build relationships and to have really great conversations. So not surface level, how's the weather going, what's happening in your life. Actually really get a deep understanding of who they are as a person, what are they working on in their business, what excites them, and build that deeper connection. The business conversation or the sales conversation will organically happen over time, but it's really all about building those connections, the referrals, and relationships that can stand the test of time, so that you can keep those relationships going throughout business when they're required to happen. So that's really where I tap into that strategy of it. So the strategy is not to sell, it's just to create deeper connections.
A deeper connection, indeed. So, Miss Sasha, can you explain to us those praise on your website, scaling your online business to the next level?
Yeah, so that's really about, a lot of times when business owners go into the online space, they're really stuck in that mindset of charging hourly, exchanging time for money. So we really focus on the scalability of a business. So we work on high value, high touch offers that are more outcome based transformations, and really supporting them to kind of move away from that exchanging time for money. Because if we exchange time for money, then we're limited in growth, we're limited in time. So really allowing the clients the strategy and the support to create signature offers that can scale their business quite quickly, so they can really change the trajectory of their business. It's really important to take it to the next level, but understand that there are easier and more cohesive ways to run businesses when we move away from the hourly pricing.
Interesting business, Miss Sasha, and on navigating the system and external challenges. How do you mentor women to navigate the double bind of being seen as either too nice or too tough? Is there a way to transcend these entirely?
Yeah, I think sometimes even just removing the thought processes or whatnot with that, because really, as long as they're leading from authenticity and actually just being themselves, if they're perceived in a different way from somebody else, it's actually the other person's issue. It means that that other person maybe has some unhealed trauma, maybe they've been harsh from somebody else, but it's a problem that they have created, so the other person has created. But in terms of leading from a business and leading as a CEO, as long as you're authentic, as long as you do your business honestly, and as long as you show up in your best authentic light, that is all that matters. Anything else is a projection or a concern for the other person. So it's really about leading on unapologetically, but also leading with authenticity is the most important part.
Authentic, for sure, nowadays, because a lot of AI. Be authentic, people.
Hmm.
Authenticity is the key to success. Understanding organizational politics is crucial for any CEO. How do you teach women to read these often invisible dynamics effectively and ethically without compromising their integrity?
Yeah, so I think it's really about just running their own race and not getting hung up with the competition, not getting hung up with the negativities in the industry. In Australia, we do suffer a lot with tall poppy syndrome, and a lot of other women want to take other women down because they feel less than. So it's really about just running your own race, not worrying about your competitors, and knowing that you're making a difference for your clients, and just keep on going with that trajectory. Because the second that you forget about the noise and get hung up in the noise and just keep on focusing on your trajectory, your clients and their transformation, things become a little bit easier, and then you not get stuck up in the noise of what's happening out there.
Yes, definitely. Concentrate, people. Concentrate of what you're doing. So, Miss Sasha, the final negotiation for the CEO position is about more than salary. It is about power, resources, and mandate. What are the key levers you advise women to pull in that final negotiation to set themselves for success?
Yeah, so specifically if you're negotiating with clients, it's really about holding the integrity and holding the transformation to its highest level and really a self trust in the transformation that you can provide for your clients. So there is a level of negotiation in terms of, you might give a little bit of a discount or a bit of a value add in terms of, closing the client, but always needs to be a win-win with the negotiation. So don't give something without getting something in return. So that's where the strategy comes into a negotiation. So that's really important. However, if there is no win win opportunity, then hold firm to your rates and hold firm in terms of knowing that you can provide the level of transformation that the client desires.
Indeed. So, Miss Sasha, as a mentor, what are your short term and long term goals?
Yeah, so short term, we've got a few new programs coming out over the next coming 6 months. We've got a lot more in person connection touch points with our clients and a lot more in boardroom style working hands on within their business. And the goal is just to keep on impacting women globally, and also a lot more speaking opportunities coming up for me in the next 12 months so that I can actually make a deeper impact on a global scale.
Good luck to your goals. Miss Sasha,
Thank you.
I'm looking forward for more success. And what would be your piece of advice for those people out there who want to be like you?
I think just keep going is, I hear a lot that people, they try in business and then they give up and they feel like it's easy to go back to the 9 to 5, but anything can work as long as you do. So just keep on fighting for it. If you want it, you've got that fire in your belly, just keep on going. And if you're unsure, go and invest in the mentors to support you to get there. I've also invested a lot of money in mentors to give me the skills and the knowledge to move as fast as I have. So be okay with asking for help along the way, but just keep on going.
Keep going, people. Keep going. Try and try until you succeed, as they said. And Miss Sasha, stepping into CEO role is a life-changing commitment, not just a career change. How do you counsel women in preparing for the personal sacrifices and building a support system to sustain them?
Yeah, so we really try to build the foundations so there are no sacrifices. So with the freedom led and the me first business, everything is around us and our desires. So asking for help and being okay to ask for help in your personal lives. If you need to outsource your washing, if you need to outsource your cleaning, and really kind of crafting that level of business to support where you are. So there are no sacrifices, because if there's sacrifices in business, then we're doing it wrong. So we want to work out what those sacrifices could be, and again, reverse engineer them so they're not a hindrance and they're not a problem. So it is 100% a me first led business.
Me first, definitely. When a woman step into a CEO role, Miss Sasha, what is the single most significant ripple effect you have observed her create within organizations, culture, and for other women?
Yeah, definitely the flexibility to work from wherever they want to, the flexibility to be able to still travel and be able to do the work that they need to do, and also really making impact on their clients' business as well. I've seen a lot of my clients have a huge ripple effect and making a huge impact on their clients' business. And it's just that, I do great work with them. They get to create a thriving business and also make big impact for their clients. So it's a huge ripple effect.
Big ripple effect for sure. And Miss Sasha, what is the most important role that male allies play in this process? And what is one thing they can do to they better mentor and sponsor high potential women?
Yeah, I think just very much what I said before is removing that power dynamic, and you can work with both just as well as working with one. And I think in the family unit as well, seeking the support that you need and kind of be open about what your wants and desires are in terms of support. So really working cohesively rather than against it.
Yes, definitely. And Miss Sasha, before we wrap up our discussion for today, I'm inviting you to please do listen to my other podcast, people, because my abstract essay is already in fifth season. Abstract poetry in second season. I'm a book 101 review in fifth season too. Comedy 101 in third season. I'm a food 101 in fifth season as well. Geography 101, love letters, and movie 101, music 101 in its fourth season, and my baby podcast, Law 101, Mental Health 101, and Bible Verses 101, Science 101, and Sex 101 in its second season. Please listen to them wherever you listen your podcasts. Miss Sasha, looking ahead, what would success look like on a grad scale? Is it the goal to simply get more women into a CEO position, or is it transform the very definition of CEO?
Yeah, it's more to get them to realize that they can do it and that they can create the life that they want. So irrespective of how many people come through our doors or what positions that they get, it's just more about them tapping into who they are and what they want, and them realizing that they get to create the life that they deserve.
Definitely, let's empower women all over the world. Miss Sasha Eburne, thank you so much for sharing your knowledge and wisdom to the world. So, can you
Thanks so much for having
please?
me.
Yes, so can you please invite our listeners to support your business, your advocacy, or whatever projects that you're doing right now?
Yeah, definitely. The website is up there, which is just www.sashaeburn.com. And feel free to jump over to Instagram, Sasha Eburn __. Always happy to have a chat or hear your biggest takeaways from the episode.
Yes, people, let's support Miss Sasha Eburne because if you support her, for sure, more and more empowering women advocacy to rise. So, Miss Sasha, thank you so much for your time.
Thanks so much for having me.
More to come, people. See you soon.